Like someone can be so angry and abusive, and for someone will look at them and go, oh, you're so cute. And then it's all done.
Can someone who's in a relationship with a challenging partner, someone who is selfish or angry or narcissistic, can that relationship actually blossom into a soulmate relationship?
That's a really tough question, because there are so many kinds of people with so many different traits and issues that fall into the category of challenging people. In fact, in my work, I call them hijackals, because these are people who hijack relationships and are always scavenging for power and status and control. So it's a question that requires a lot of distance. You've got to sit down and get someone with outside eyes to help you with that, because you can't really see it. There's a lot of emotional manipulation that's taking place, and so you never really get to that place where you're understanding each other with some depth. You're never sure where the ground you're walking on is taking you, but it depends to the depth of the hijackal traits. You know, those people are not going to give up easily. They are always going to be right. They're always going to be blaming. They're always going to be finding fault, and they always have to win. And if you're in a situation with someone who has those characteristics, is demeaning and belittling and demanding, chances of them being your soulmate, I hope, are slim to none, right?
It's such an interesting thing that one of the words I honed in on that you said is traits, because I have to say that probably a lot of people would describe me as sweet, but I have also been selfish at times. I've also been a narcissist at times. I've also been manipulative, I think, sometimes. I think some of these things are states of being, and they come and go. They pass through us. And a lot of times, at a time when I am selfish, for example, what I need most is love. So someone who has these qualities that perhaps are coming up over and over again, what they need most is love. So I would have a hard time saying that they don't deserve that love, just from a holistic kind of macro level.
Well, they do. I just want to respond to that for a second. They do deserve that love. Everybody deserves that love. But the one thing that we have to be careful is that those traits can be difficult. They can produce a difficult person. So sometimes they're a little bit difficult, like you're talking about those occasional traits. But we have other people who are chronically difficult. They're difficult with all people at all times, in all situations, except when they're endeavoring to manipulate and draw you in. So yes, every one of those people deserves love, and we have to have a lot of compassion for the hijackal. But we also have to learn that we can't condone or enable the behavior. So when we get to that place of compassion, absolutely. But can we actually call them our soulmate? Sometimes they're just attractive to us because we're codependent.
I also think that soulmates can be the people who connect. Therefore, if as a child you have been raised with someone who has been difficult, you're probably used to that. You've probably learned how to cope with that. If you've been raised with a narcissistic mother or a father, you probably became someone who's a codependent, who didn't need to exist, who just related to that person. And most probably another narcissist will come in and you're like, oh my God, the love of my life is here, because you just connected with your own mother. And I've noticed in my practice that many times people match up in a way that some traits would be intolerable for some group, versus some traits are just accepted and tolerated by another as if it doesn't even faze them. Like someone can be so angry and abusive, and for someone will look at them and go, oh, you're so cute. And then it's all done. And another person who's avoiding dominance will get furious back and will get into a power struggle. So it also depends on the match itself and how they can match in a way that they could connect even into a compatible way.
I know this couple that's been together for 30 years, and he's a rageaholic. He is an angry, angry guy. And she is the sweetest, nicest, most demure woman you've ever met, except she really isn't. She's very passive-aggressive, and she suppresses her anger, but of course it leaks out everywhere. Right. So what really happens in that relationship is he's expressing his natural anger, and hers. So from the outside looking in, it looks like he's the problem, but the truth is he, in this very unconscious, loving way, is helping her get through life.
So the answer to this complicated question about whether or not you can have a challenging person as a soulmate is it depends, right? It depends on how healthy you are. It depends on how much you can tolerate. It depends on whether or not this person's actually detrimental to your life. Do yourself a favor, get some help from a professional who can help you answer this question so that you can get on with your life.